Chapter 1. Pom Pom arrives. It was well past midnight when the monkey climbed through the bedroom window. He jumped down from the windowsill and set off to explore. When he reached the bed, he stood on tiptoe to get a closer look at the sleeping boy. He had a round face and messy light brown hair, and the monkey thought he looked nice. He picked up a book from the bedside table and looked at the picture of a knight in armor waving a sword. It would be more interesting if the knight were waving a banana. Bananas were some of the monkey's very most favorite things. He dropped the book onto the floor and walked over to the wardrobe, where he stood for a moment thinking hard. He was an extremely brave monkey, but this was a strange house, and who knew what lay behind the door? There could be a ghost in there, or even a skeleton. He took a deep breath and reached for the handle. He was relieved to find nothing scarier than a row of clothes. He took a flying leap and caught hold of the rail with one paw. With the other paw, he threw the clothes and hangers onto the floor one by one. He turned himself upside down, holding onto the rail with his feet. The bedroom looked far more interesting this way up. One of his feet slipped and he fell, landing on the messy heap of clothes with a loud thump. "Ouch," he muttered crossly, rubbing his leg. "Those shirts are nasty and pokey." Startled by the noise, the boy sat up, rubbing his eyes. He looked over at the monkey and blinked sleepily. "Why is there a monkey in my room?" he asked. The monkey thought quickly before saying in a soothing voice, "You're just having a very nice dream, boy. Go back to sleep." The boy nodded, lay down again and closed his eyes. The monkey breathed a sigh of relief. The boy was very lucky to have such a wonderful visitor, but it might be better to wait until the morning to introduce himself properly. He noticed a red armchair in the corner of the room. It was soft, comfortable, and just the right size for a monkey. He was starting to feel sleepy, so he climbed onto the chair and curled himself into a tight ball. He took one last look around the room and noticed a teddy bear sitting on the boy's pillow. "You don't frighten me," he told it in a fierce whisper. The bear stared silently back at him, and the monkey made his best scary face. If the bear wanted a fight, he'd give him one in the morning. Just now, he was far too tired and hungry to move. He wondered for a moment what bear tasted like and gave the teddy one last suspicious look before dozing off. The boy woke early the next morning to find his hair being pulled. "Wake up," said a cheerful voice in his ear. The boy opened his eyes to see a small monkey sitting on his pillow beaming at him. It leaned over and patted his head very kindly. "Good morning, boy. You were being sleepy and not much interesting, so I thought you'd like me to wake you up." The boy rubbed his eyes in disbelief. "What are you doing here? I thought I was dreaming when I saw you last night." The monkey shook his head, pleased. "I'm not a dream, boy, although I would be a most excellent dream for anyone to have." The boy smiled. "My name isn't Boy, it's James. You still haven't told me what you're doing here. How did you get in?" The monkey looked proud of himself. "I climbed in through your bedroom window, which was extremely nice for you. By the way, you snore a lot, which is quite rude." He climbed off the bed. "My tummy says it's time for breakfast, so we need to find me something to eat at once. You can go back to sleep if you like. I can make my own breakfast." "Don't do that," said James. "I'll come with you and find you something to eat." The monkey talked loudly all the way down the stairs. "Isn't it nice of me to be so quiet and not wake your family? They'll be delighted to hear such a polite and thoughtful monkey has come to stay." He tripped and fell down the last few stairs. "Ouch!" he shrieked. "Shh," said James. "I'm being shush," said the monkey crossly. "I'm being much more shush than you are." James picked him up and carried him to the kitchen, where he reached for the flour, milk, and eggs and began to mix them together. "Maybe pancakes will keep you quiet for a while," he said with a grin. The monkey sat on the kitchen floor, smoothing his fur into place. "I'm always quiet, but you've made me very messy and not at all beautiful." James laughed as he finished mixing the batter and poured it into the frying pan. "I need some more milk," said a voice behind him. James turned to find the monkey sitting in a puddle of milk on the kitchen floor, soaked from head to toe. "What on earth are you doing?" he asked. The monkey grinned up at him. "I'm playing Monkey Wars. These bits of cereal are my boats, and those bits of paper are yours. You'll be very glad to hear my boats are winning." He poked at one of the pieces of paper until it vanished under the surface of the milky ocean. He reached for another one. "Your boats aren't very good at floating, are they?" Down you go, evil humans. He gave his best pirate laugh and slapped at the rest of the milk. Look at all those lovely big waves. All your boats will soon be at the bottom of the ocean, and my monkey ships will be victorious. James reached for a cloth to dry the monkey's fur. You can do that in your own home, he said, but you can't do it here. The monkey's ears drooped and he gave a deep sigh. I don't exactly have a home. I've been living at the zoo. Have you escaped? Asked James, feeling rather confused. The monkey shook his head sadly. I haven't escaped from anywhere. I said I was living at the zoo, not that I belonged there. So where did you live before that? Asked James. The monkey shrugged his tiny shoulders. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. I just remember arriving at the zoo one day. The monkeys there had plenty of bananas, and I thought they might like to share. James tried to follow this story. So how did you end up here? The monkey smiled happily up at him. I saw you looking at the animals with your mother yesterday. You were eating a banana and you looked like the sort of person with plenty of fruit at home, so I followed you. The monkeys at the zoo weren't as good at sharing their bananas as they ought to have been. James felt sorry for the little monkey. Surely Mum wouldn't mind if he stayed with them for a while. I'll finish making your breakfast, he said, turning back to the stove. What would you like on your pancakes? There was no answer, and James turned around to see the monkey had disappeared. There was a strange noise, although he wasn't quite sure where it was coming from. The noise came again, a muffled thump followed by a loud crash. James opened the fridge door to find the monkey perched on the top shelf, shivering uncontrollably. As soon as the door opened, he leapt out, knocking James flat on his back on the kitchen floor. What took you so long? He complained. James scrambled to his feet. I didn't know where you were. What were you doing in the fridge? The monkey blew on his paws to warm them. I just opened the door to very helpfully put the eggs away, and I saw some carrots. I climbed inside to get them, but the door shut all by itself. I couldn't get out again, and all the lights went off. James tried not to laugh. The fridge probably isn't the best place for a monkey. The monkey gave a huge sigh. I know that now. It was extremely cold and my paws got frostbite. Shall I get you a carrot? Asked James. The monkey beamed with pleasure. I like carrots very much. I also like cookie dough ice cream. Do you have any of that? He watched anxiously as James reached inside the fridge for a carrot. It had been very cold in there, and he didn't want the boy to hurt his paws. James finished making the pancakes while the monkey munched his carrot and told him exactly what he was doing wrong. Just as the last pancake was cooking, they heard Mum's footsteps coming down the stairs. Wait here, whispered James. I'll be right back. He met Mum in the hall and took a deep breath. A monkey climbed through my window last night. He says he followed us home from the zoo. Mum looked amused. Don't they want him back? James shook his head. He says he didn't like it there because the other monkeys wouldn't share their food with him. Meanies, added the little monkey, suddenly appearing behind James. Mum almost jumped out of her skin. I thought you were joking, she gasped. Can he stay with us? Asked James hopefully. Please say yes. It's always so quiet when Dad's away. Mum looked at James's eager face and nodded. I don't see why not. He'll be good company for us as long as he doesn't make too much trouble. James thought this monkey would probably make quite a bit of trouble, but he kept the thought to himself. He seems to be quite a hungry monkey, was all he said. He was relieved to hear Mum laugh. Well, that makes two of you. Dad and I have been talking about getting you a dog. A monkey won't need as much walking. I don't need any walking, interrupted the monkey. I'm a very good walker all by myself. I'm also a very good climber and jumper and somersaulter, and I'm sure you are, said James. Well, that's decided. You can stay here with us if you like. The monkey clapped his paws together. I think you would enjoy having me, so I will stay. It will be ever so much fun for you both. Before either of them could answer, he ran off towards the dining room. James followed with the plates of pancakes and found the monkey already sitting on a chair, snapping his long fingers impatiently. Be quicker, he told James. I'm very hungry. James helped him to pour syrup over his pancakes and showed him how to use his knife and fork. The monkey was a quick learner and had soon cut all his pancakes into neat squares. He dropped his knife and fork onto the floor, grabbed a pawful of cubes and stuffed them into his mouth. Pancakes are a very yummy sort of food, he mumbled, as tiny pieces of pancakes sprayed everywhere. Mum came in and sat down next to James. She looked at the monkey, who was now squeezing the syrup bottle as hard as he could. "So, Mr. Monkey, how did you enjoy your first night here?" she asked. "I hope you weren't too homesick." "I haven't been here long enough to be sick of it," the monkey told her politely. "I slept very well in my lovely red chair, thank you. I thought it was important to sleep near James in case he woke up crying in the night or was too scared to move. He was lucky to have such a brave monkey to protect him from that evil bear who lives in his bed. I think he's very ugly with his shiny eyes and stupid fat face." "Teddy isn't ugly," said James. "I've had him since I was very small, and he's staying whether you like it or not." The monkey waved a sticky paw. "But you won't need him now you have someone as totally awesome as me living with you." "Why can't I have you both?" asked James. "That bear is very stupid and not at all brave," the monkey said crossly. "He needs to go and live somewhere else, probably in a completely different country." James smiled but shook his head. "There's plenty of room for everyone." The monkey gave him a stern look. "We'll talk about this later when you've calmed down. I'm just saying he looks like the sort of badly behaved bear who would keep us awake all night." Mum interrupted their argument. "Have you picked a name for your monkey yet?" she asked James. "I think I should pick my own name, thank you very much," said the monkey. "Do you have any suggestions?" asked James. The monkey thought about this for a moment. "I haven't really had time to think about things like that. I only got here last night, and I've been extremely busy all morning with my sea battles." "What sea battles?" asked Mum. "You're right," said James before she could ask any more questions. "We can't keep calling him the monkey. He needs a real name." "It should be a very special name," said the monkey, "because I'm a very special monkey." "How about Prince?" suggested Mum. James gave a snort of laughter, then quickly covered his mouth, trying to look serious. The monkey put his nose in the air. "Prince would be a completely much excellent name for me. King would be even better." "How about Emperor or Supreme Ruler?" asked James. The monkey frowned. "This isn't a laughing matter. I think you're being extremely rude." James patted his arm. "I'm sorry. Seriously, what should we call you?" The monkey closed his eyes tightly in order to think extra hard. James noticed him cleaning his syrupy paws on the tablecloth and hoped Mum wouldn't notice it too. They sat for a while in silence, thinking about names. Mum watched the monkey's tail swishing slowly to and fro, as though it too was deep in thought. "You have a very beautiful tail," she told him. The monkey looked pleased. "I have a very beautiful everything, but it's clever of you to notice my tail. It's particularly much beautiful, and it's one of my very most favourite things." "It has a gorgeous feathery tip," she said. "That's my plume," he said proudly. "Monkeys don't usually have plumes on their tails, but I'm extremely special, so I decided to have one anyway." "What kind of monkey are you?" asked James. The monkey looked even more pleased with himself. "I'm not any kind of monkey. I'm the only monkey like me in the whole complete world. I'm very much amazing." "That tail of yours reminds me of a hat I knitted for James when he was very small," said Mum. "It had a pale blue and white snowflake pattern, and I put a pom-pom on top." "What's a pom-pom?" asked the monkey. "A soft round ball made of wool," she told him. "It's for decoration." The monkey gave a deep sigh. "I'd have liked that hat at the zoo. My ears got very cold at night and they wouldn't wiggle properly." "I'll knit you one if you like," said Mum. "For my very own?" he asked, his eyes big and round. "For your very own," she said. "You can pick the colour and I'll sew a pom-pom on top to match your tail." The monkey beamed at her. "That way my ears will always be lovely and warm, which is a very nice thought for my ears. I think my new hat will become one of my very most favourite things." "Pom-pom," said James suddenly. "That could be a good name for a monkey." "Pom-pom," said the monkey thoughtfully. "It is a nice name. I'd almost decided on Emperor, but this is even better." He grinned widely. "And it celebrates my tail, which is the bestest part of me. It's a very good name indeed." "It looks as though we have a winner," said Mum, gathering up the plates. "James, please help Pom-Pom find everything he needs while I clear away the breakfast things." She left the room and Pom-Pom and James looked at each other. "I'm glad you're staying," said James. Pom-Pom jumped onto James's shoulder and gave his ear an affectionate nibble. "I think it's very nice for you that I've decided to stay." James gently moved Pom-Pom away from his ear. No one else has a pet monkey with a plumed tail like a pom-pom. I think we're going to have lots of fun together. They headed upstairs to wash Pom-Pom's sticky paws, Pom-Pom balancing easily on James's shoulder. I'll find you a towel of your own, said James, rummaging through the bathroom cupboard. If you ask Mum nicely, she might even sew your name on it. She does that with all my school things so they don't get lost. Pom-Pom looked puzzled. Why does she put my name on your school things? James gave a snort of laughter. She puts my name on them. Pom-Pom ignored the laughter. I think Pom-Pom is such a great name that it should go on as many things as possible. James agreed. We'll ask Mum to put Pom-Pom on the corner of this yellow towel, so no one else will ever use it. Pom Pom the Great, the little monkey corrected him anxiously. James smiled down at his new friend. Of course, he said. Pom Pom the Great it is.